Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this introduction to cloud networking with Ricoh. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know everyone's busy. My name's Stephen Burns. I'm a solutions architect with Ricoh Australia's IT Services Division. All up, I've been with the company just over 8 years now. We'll also have Ryan from Cisco presenting. He's going to take us through Cisco's Meraki product line and show us some of the features and benefits of using a cloud-managed network solution. When we get into the presentation, please feel free to ask questions. You can submit them through GoToMeeting, and I'll either raise them with Ryan directly, or we'll wait to the end and go through them then. The webinar is being recorded and it'll be available for download in the future, so don't worry if you miss something. Now, before we dive into the Meraki demonstration, I just wanted to take a few minutes to share the Ricoh IT Services story. Many of you would know Ricoh as a print company. That's where our roots are. However, we do have a very strong IT services arm. Ricoh's IT services team has been delivering IT services into the Australian market for near on 20 years now. We offer cloud services through our own hosting infrastructure, which is currently located in Sydney. We also offer co-location services and connectivity through to our public clouds. We have our own carriage network. We can provide WAN and internet services directly through us. We have an Australian-based support desk that can provide outsourced help desk services and infrastructure management services. We can also assist with technology procurement, contract management, and provide our own Cisco warranty and support service. On top of that, we have a large team of senior engineers who can assist with all types of professional services, project work, design, project management, and business as usual assistance. We currently have a presence for that team in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, and Newcastle. So we cover most of the major areas. We're currently in the middle of a national data center upgrade and rollout program. We'll be extending our hosting and carriage network nationally, establishing a presence in Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth. This is going to bring us public cloud hybrid offerings, allowing us to extend customer networks into Amazon, Azure, SoftLayer, and other public cloud offerings. So I also just want to take a moment to talk about why we've chosen to partner with Meraki. Meraki was bought by Cisco in late 2012 for $1.2 billion. Cisco had seen the writing on the wall and needed to get into the cloud networking space, so they went straight to the best and purchased Meraki. Meraki brings to the table a number of fantastic features and benefits, which Ryan will take you through. But some of the ones that we really were taken by is the increased efficiency for the customer, allowing you to upgrade firmware and change settings across multiple devices with ease. No matter the size of the deployment, whether you have one access point or 1,000, you get the same set of enterprise features. You get intrusion protection services, layer 7 filtering, mobile device management. Doesn't matter what size your company is. And cloud-managed networking means that the new features can be rolled out overnight. Meraki are constantly adding new features to their solutions. They introduced packet capturing facilities through an overnight upgrade. Then, due to response from the user base, they integrated this with CloudShark, adding instant analysis support. When the Heartbleed vulnerability exploded last year, Meraki were able to protect every Meraki customer from this in under 24 hours, thanks to their centralized intrusion protection services. Overall, Meraki provides a very compelling story from the SMB customer through to enterprise. Internally, Ricoh actually run their entire US operations on Meraki networking, and we're one of the largest system manager deployments in the world. Ricoh IT Services are building a number of services around Meraki to offer to the market. This includes simple deployment and management of network and wireless across an organization, shifting network provisioning into an operational expense rather than a large upfront capital expense, providing our customers with usage analytics, guest wireless access, enabling mobility, and many of the other benefits that Ryan's going to take you through today. We're going to leverage the industry-leading Cisco Meraki technology, Ricoh's end-to-end network capabilities, and our professional services design implementation teams to provide you with a tailored network solution perfect for your business. All right, thanks for your time. I'm going to hand over to Ryan now, and he'll take you through some of the key features and capabilities of Meraki. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them through the question box on the right-hand side. And as I said, I'll pass them on to Ryan or hold them back to the end whenever it makes sense to talk about them. Thanks, Ryan. If you want to take over.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan. Pleasure to meet everybody. I'm the channel manager for Australia and New Zealand for Meraki. Just to give you guys a little background on myself, I actually started at the company in 2011. And at the time, we actually didn't even have much of a presence here in APAC. When I came in, I had everything from India down to New Zealand. And obviously in the last few years, we've made some huge strides in the ANZ region. Obviously, bringing on Ricoh as one of our key partners has been phenomenal for us. Stephen, Deborah, Bree, the whole Ricoh team has been absolutely phenomenal working with us, and we have a lot of internal knowledge over there, a great partner for us. And as I said, as I go through this, guys, if anyone has questions, just feel free to ask. Stephen can view all the questions, and then as things come up, he can go ahead and shout those out. Just so we're all clear, I just wanted to go through our product line really quickly. We are what we like to consider today a cloud IT company, right? And what that means is that we do have products, obviously physical products, access points, security appliances, switches, mobile device management software, but the real core of what we do as a company is being able to provide the dashboard. Now, from the Wi-Fi capability, we have, very mid-level 802.11n triple radio access points. Again, these are all really well designed from an industrial standpoint, very Apple-esque, as we like to say, all the way up to 802.11ac. And for those of you that have municipal deployments that are perhaps like in a park or somewhere that's a very rural area, all of those things you can deploy using the solution.
All right, just while Ryan's working his way through that, I'll go through a bit of the Meraki product line. So there's sort of four main product lines, 3 hardware-based and 1 software-based. We've got the wireless access points, there's security devices, and their switches. And then they actually have a systems manager, which is a mobility management platform. In the wireless space, there's a number of internal or indoor access points, ranging from the sort of lowest end of the MR18, which is a N-band wireless, up to the MR34, which is their top-of-the-line AC. They've also recently introduced the MR32, which is an AC access point, and also has a Bluetooth beacon capabilities.
Hey, Stephen, so I just jumped back on, and now I can see your screen. So I'm thinking that this is going to work. I'm going to go ahead and give you one. I'm going to try to make myself the presenter here, and then I want you guys to let me know. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. That's phenomenal. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to touch anything. Okay, and then so you can see my screen, you guys can hear me. All right, so again, everyone, apologies for that. I think you work for a tech company. It's amazing how many times you can't get technology to work. In any case, everyone can see my screen now. Stephen, thank you for picking it up there. Everybody, there we go. Again, what Stephen was doing was going through our products, and I think the important thing on that was that that everyone helps understand that we do have physical products, but what we really provide as a company is this dashboard here. Now, what I'm actually showing you guys right now This is an actual Meraki dashboard, and interestingly enough, this is our corporate network. This is the actual network that we use internally here. Now, the benefit of a product like this, again, is that all the pieces of technology that you guys would potentially have located somewhere in your network are simultaneously viewed from this single pane of glass. So that means, you know, if you guys have Meraki switches, if you guys have Meraki Wi-Fi, if you guys have mobile device management, Meraki security, right? And no matter how many locations you guys have, whether they're geographically dispersed across Australia or the globe, simultaneously everything can be viewed from this dashboard now. Along the same lines of the technical issue that we just had, I will ask you guys to bear with me because this is a live demo, and this is my own corporate network. So if the IT managers in my company decide to make changes during this, potentially we'll have some issues. But in any case, I'll move forward with it. Imagine, if you would, if this was your own network, right? And as an IT manager, you have maybe 4 or 5 different locations that you guys are simultaneously managing. The benefit of this solution is that I'm able to go in here and just immediately drill down into a location. So for example, I went from a global view now into the state of California. I can go from the state of California now into specifically San Francisco, and from San Francisco, I can go into my actual building. So what you guys are actually seeing right here is the Meraki corporate campus. These are all different pieces of technology that we have located somewhere in the environment. And from here, I can actually drill down even further. So I can say, you know, look, here is my building. Why don't we just look at maybe the 4th floor of my building, right? So I can go from looking at now this Google Map view of, you know, specifically where this building is located, to now looking at perhaps, you know, floor 4 or floor 5 of just my organization, right? Give it a sec. Here we go. This is what I was meaning by live demo. I'm in the Cisco office right now in North Sydney, so I'm running off the Wi-Fi in this building. So hopefully that works. And if not, there we go. Perfect. Things are working. That's always a plus. So this is my 4th floor. Now, each of these little icons, those actually represent an access point that I have located somewhere on my floor. You can see 162 clients hit that access point today. 100 hit that one today. If anyone's interested, those red lines that we actually have going between the access points, kind of an interesting point. When we were founded, our founder actually meant for this to be sort of like a mesh network, like rural parts of the world, like, you know, way to provide internet into those areas. And this red line is actually kind of a function of that. It's actually representing a mesh neighbor. So if this access point here, which I have located somewhere in the building, if that was to, for example, lose its internet backhaul, it would just pull a signal from any of these access points that were located in the area, right? This one right here, and then continue to work as last configured. So what that also means is that if you guys have outdoor deployments where you're in an area where you can't exactly get an Ethernet to a single access point, as long as it has like a line of sight or recognizes another access point in the area, it will actually just pull a signal from that. Now, I think the most interesting thing that we can show you with this dashboard is this. This is a single access point, right? But I can actually now drill in and, for example, if I'm an IT manager and maybe I'm in Perth, right? And I know that I have a Sydney office, and the people in the Sydney office are giving me a call and they're saying, hey, Ryan, you know, I have 5 guys in my office right now, and they want to get on their iPads because we have a presentation to do, and none of their iPads are working. Right? It's a pretty common thing that happens to an IT manager. I can actually go on here immediately from any device in the world, whether it be a laptop, a phone, a tablet, sign on to this dashboard, click on that access point that I know is in the conference room, and immediately tell you if there actually is traffic flowing through it, how much traffic is flowing through it, and exactly who's on that access point right now. Now, again, this ability to just drill into the access point and actually show you in a very in-depth manner what's happening, fairly revolutionary in the industry right now. I can also show you if there was a dropout, where it was, why it was, when it was. And I think most impressively, I can drill into individual clients. So let's pick on Ann. So Ann is actually our sales rep for New South Wales. So I can actually drill into Ann's device, and I can actually show you the physical location of where Ann is in my building relative to those access points. obviously you can see here, looks like she's over chatting with some of the other salespeople instead of at her desk, which is over here. I always find that very interesting. That is actually like a real-time location, so you'll see her movement as she kind of, there we go, now she's back at her desk. Additionally, here's like her signal strength, her Active Directory credentials. I think most scary is this is every single website from a Layer 7 application perspective, every single Layer 7 application that Ann has used over the last, what time frame are we in here? 24 hours, right? So WebEx, Google, Gmail, Salesforce. Actually, that's really good. Normally, you'd see some Facebook on there, or some Spotify, or ESPN.com, or something like that. Typically, if you see WebEx, Google, and Gmail, and Salesforce up at the top, it's a pretty good salesperson. So I'll give Ann credit for being on the ball this week. But imagine for you guys, as an IT manager, as an IT director, as somebody who has to run your business, the ability to very quickly identify where your users are located, if there are potentially any issues happening with your Wi-Fi or your switching or your security, and then identify the websites and applications that are being used by your employees or guests immediately and in a manner that's very straightforward. I think that's very powerful, and I think a lot of us will find that whether we have existing Wi-Fi solutions today or we have nothing in place, there's a lot of value in this. Now, we're looking at Ann, and this is a single client. Now, I can actually pull this view back. Now, instead of saying, just show me Ann, just show me Ann's websites, I want to see every single client. I'm a global business. I'm a aged care facility, or I'm a big law firm, or a finance firm, or I'm a hotel or school. And I have multiple campuses, multiple locations. I want to see all the users that I have across all of my locations simultaneously right now. So this interface that I'm now showing you guys is all of the clients, right? And I can go in here and I can say, just show me the online wireless clients. So we have 100 people in my office right now. It is, I think, what, 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock in San Francisco right now. So, I mean, I'm glad there's anybody still there. 100 people in my network right now, and if I wanted to, I can just identify specific users, right? I can say, show me Ann, right? And that's your last name, N-G-U-I-N, right? And there's Ann's device right there. Or perhaps I want to know exactly, total on my network, how many iPads do I have? 28 iPads on my network right now. Again, I can go in here and I can specify that I want to see when the first time this iPad came on. I want to know what port they're attached to potentially. I want to know, when they connected, who they connected to, what access point. Right? All of this information can be shown to me here in this interface. But I think what's most powerful is that I can go on here and perhaps in the example that I gave where we have 5 people that are trying to do a conference on their iPads, I can go in here, immediately select out all the iPads that are currently on my network, and I can say, let's whitelist these iPads. Let's just get them on, right? I can't deal with like people trying to figure out what their AD password is and they got fat fingers and they can't type it in. I just get them on, right? Alternatively, I can say, you know what? The iPads are going to be on for this meeting in the next hour. Perhaps I want to just make it so that for the next hour, they're all following a executive policy or a, block sports policy. I don't know. Whatever you guys wanted to do, you can do it from here. And then what's interesting is that regardless of the number of locations that I have, whether this conference is in Perth or in Sydney, or maybe the conferences are happening simultaneously in Perth and Sydney and Adelaide, once I apply this policy on this dashboard, that change takes place on all of my networks simultaneously. And I think it's an important point to note because a lot of us that deal with geographically dispersed offices know that a lot of times we're going to be having to make changes in locations where I don't potentially have IT staff, or there's going to be a change made and I'm working from home that day, or I'm off site that day, right? There still needs to be a way to access my network, and the Meraki solution, this dashboard, gives us that ability to be very dynamic in the way we manage our networks. Now, what that also means is that every time I need to update the firmware on my access points, every time I need to go in and make a change, all of that stuff happens over the cloud. Additionally, I want to make the point that all the configuration that I use on these access points is scaled, right? I mean, in effect, I make one sort of configuration to a single access point during a proof of concept. You guys will all be getting an access point after this. And if I wanted to scale that to, say, 500 access points, All I have to do is add the serial number into this dashboard, and that change takes place across all of those different locations. Now, I moved to Australia maybe about a year ago from San Francisco, and interestingly enough, something I learned very quickly is that we pay a lot of money for bandwidth in this country. It's kind of shocking when I look at my my Telstra bill every month. But that being said, I think that a lot of us as business owners, as IT managers, struggle because we don't exactly know what the bandwidth on our network's being used for. Again, this solution gives us the ability to very quickly go in here, and I can now show you every single Layer 7 application that's being used across my entire network. And I can tell you what percentage of my network actually goes into those applications. So, a fan favorite is I go down here and I say, look, it's Tuesday in Australia. That makes it Monday in the United States. And this is my own office here in San Francisco. 8.54 gigabytes of Facebook was used in the last, 8-hour workday. So that means, quite a bit of Facebooking happening on the Meraki network. If I'm the CEO of a company and I go to the IT manager and I say, hey, Ryan, what are my salespeople doing all Monday? I didn't see any calls today. Or, what are all the accountants doing? They're supposed to be crunching numbers, right? Well, I can go here, I can click on Facebook, and I can actually now give you the top users of Facebook ranked in terms of who used Facebook the most. Now, I want to make an interesting point here. Benjamin Stafford has ranked in the #1 spot over the last 3 weeks of me giving this demo. So I think that's a very interesting point to make there. And I think as an IT manager or as a business owner, perhaps I see this and I go, look, Ben's been on Facebook a lot. What's going on there? Well, I can actually go in this interface and I can block Facebook for Ben, right? Or I can just remove him from this network altogether. Say, hey, mate, that's enough Facebooking out of you. We're going to need you. We're going to need you to get back on the phone there. Get back on your Excel spreadsheet. Those models aren't going to make themselves, right? So all of that can be done from this interface. Now, Stephen, did anyone have any questions before I move on just this section here? Can you take a quick look there? And if anyone does have any questions, I'm happy to address those now.
Yeah, we had a question about the search and policy feature and whether it can apply policy to a subset of the network rather than all of the network.
It can. So I think that's a great segment into the next section. Everything that I've shown you guys here is very particular to being able to monitor what happens on your network. The sort of second part of this dashboard is how I can use this technology to control the environment which I have. Now, what we can actually do is, and I think about very common deployment scenarios that I've kind of mapped out with clients. If you're a corporation today, the most likely scenario for you is that you have a corporate network where you only want corporate-issued devices that I've screened, that I issued, to access the SSID which goes through my LAN. Now, again, I won't get too technical, but in effect, that's a corporate network, secure devices, Active Directory integrated, right? Additionally, I can have like a BYOD network where, still Active Directory integrated, but perhaps this one, you can bring your device from home and join the network, and it doesn't touch my LAN. I don't have to worry about there being any sort of security risk when it comes to the information contained in my actual internal network. And then additionally, you can have a guest network. And then what's interesting, and to answer that question, even within the specific corporate network, I can apply a policy that says, for example, that all of the iPads specifically have a set of firewall rules that apply to them. All of the specific people on this VLAN have a throttling rule or an executive policy rule, right? All of this can be configured from the interface here. So I hope that answers the question. What I'm showing you now is actually that group policy configuration screen. Anything else, Stephen?
No, I think that covers it for now. Other stuff we'll cover a bit later.
Yeah, not a worry. So we have a pretty big mix of clients here. I'm going to show you guys a feature now that's fairly particular to retail, but I do find has quite a few applications outside of the specific to retail space. Now, imagine I walk into a Westfield, right? Now, the moment I walk into that Westfield, everybody knows there's free Wi-Fi in Westfield, right? even though I don't connect to the Wi-Fi, my phone knows that there's an access point. The way it knows it is that when I go into my phone and I click on Wi-Fi, you see a bunch of SSIDs come up, right? Well, the same way that your phone sees those SSIDs, the actual access point itself sees your phone. It's a beacon exchange. Now, based on that beacon exchange, I get a decibel rating, or like a signal strength, for example. Now, if I know how large my store is, and I know how far somebody is away from that access point, what I can give you is how many people today walked by my store, right? How many people today actually walked into the vicinity of my store? How many people chose to connect to the Wi-Fi in my store? Additionally, I can tell you how long those users dwelled in my environment, and then I can additionally tell you how often I see that same device in my environment. Now, what's really powerful here is that I can take that information and then I can overlay a single location. Perhaps I have my George Street location in Sydney against my Burke Street location in Melbourne, right? And I can show you what that traffic differential looks like. Now, I think that for, again, those of us on the IT space, to be able to show this to the marketing department and explain that this is a really strong driver and why the Wi-Fi will not just help the IT team, but will also help the marketing team. I think that that's a very interesting conversation to have, and I have a lot of ways that I can assist you guys if that's a conversation you want to have with your marketing team. Now, additionally, I can take that proximity information and I can take the actual floor plan that I showed you guys earlier, and I can actually now show you what the density of Wi-Fi users over a given day looks like as time progresses. So here's my fourth floor, yesterday being Sunday, right, and obviously this being in Australian time and the location being in US time, but this is what the actual movement of users looks like. Now, the blue dots are going to be connected devices. The gray dots are unconnected devices. Now you can see we're coming into Monday. I expect there to be more salespeople. There we go. They're coming in. They're at their desks. They're calling you guys. Now you can see, obviously, we have everybody in the office, 6 a.m. People are moving to the kitchen. They're getting their, Lucky Charms or what have you, getting their coffees, and they're going back to their desks. But again, this feature here, a lot of times is a feature that with a lot of vendors you would be paying extra for, right? To be able to get this location analytical specific data, a lot of times if you were to go with a traditional solution, whether it be like Aruba, Ruckus, whatever, this is something that will cost you extra. The benefit that you guys get out of a Meraki solution is that everything you see here, everything that I've shown you guys today is included with the two SKUs, the hardware and the software, right? All of your firmware updates, your software updates, the full cloud feature set, all of that is included with the two SKUs. Additionally, imagine 6 months ago we didn't have this feature. Every existing client that had a Meraki network, the moment that this feature was released, got an update that said, new dashboard feature, location heat map. And everybody immediately was given this, right? So the idea here is we want to go with the solution that we really feel like can future-proof our network, right? The majority of Wi-Fi refreshes that I see in Australia run anywhere from 3 to 5 years, right? 3 being if you're a much more budget-rich company, and 5 being if you're like an average company where you only have the budget to refresh every 5 years. So that means whatever solution we go with today has to be able to provide us the sort of functionality that we need 40 years from now potentially, right? A cloud solution really is able to cater to that model, right? Continually, you guys will have the most up-to-date network. So again, just some of the very innovative things that we do here. For those of you guys who work in like maybe the financial sector, insurance, any sort of like federal gov, local government where security is a big concern, a couple things I want to note here. As it pertains to security, I know earlier I showed you guys that I can see that Ann was using Gmail or that Benjamin Stafford was using a lot of Facebook. There's a very important distinction that we need to make here. I can show you that somebody was using Facebook. I can show you that someone was using Gmail, but I cannot tell you what they were clicking on Facebook. I can't tell you what Ann's emails say. I can only tell you that they were using that particular application. Right? It's the layer 7. I can see the layer 7 application. What that also means is the user traffic, the things that are happening on your network actually stay local to your environment. Right? The only thing that's going back to the cloud is the management packets to provide the data to this dashboard. Right? It's an important distinction to make. Additionally, all the configuration that we've done on this network stays local to the actual access point. So even if you lost connectivity to the cloud, you would actually still be able to have a functioning network, right? Now, additionally, on that security point, this is what we call Air Marshal. It's, for those of you familiar with Cisco, it's a lot like Clean Air. I like to call it, I can't believe it's not Clean Air. That's my internal term for it. But in effect, what it does is it scans the environment where all the access points are and tells you if there's any intrusions. So perhaps I'm a school and I'm worried that some cheeky kid's going to come in with like some sort of access point additional to the ones I've already deployed, find like an Ethernet port that was sitting in some location that I'd never realized was there, plug in his own access point, and then try to broadcast a signal where he can do all kinds of cheeky things to your network, right? Well, immediately this network will identify whether or not there is a rogue access point located somewhere in my network, or perhaps there's a malicious broadcast located somewhere in my network. It'll pinpoint that location for you, and then additionally, we'll have the ability to then contain that directly from this interface. You can see what that looks like. Obviously, I can't save anything here, but again, this feature scans full-time as long as you have like an MR18 or above. The security radio scans 24/7 for these sorts of intrusions. I can have this scan opportunistically if I wanted to as well. Again, it all depends on how you guys want to construct this network. Again, I won't get too technical here with you guys, but just to give you guys an idea, this is what like our spectrum analysis tool looks like, right? The ability to look at the environment, the Wi-Fi is functioning, and tell us if there's interference, right? Comes up a lot if you're a business that is in perhaps a CBD where you know there's a lot of other businesses around. So those are some of the more high-level features. Stephen, I'm going to pause right there. Did anyone have any particular questions on any of the stuff that I've shown so far before I kind of move into perhaps the Switch product? Check right here.
There was a question around the URL and filtering, and and whether we can use URL filtering through this rather than through a traditional firewall appliance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea here is that the entire access point solution, the entire Meraki solution, has firewall and traffic shaping built into the Wi-Fi, right? So the idea is that if I wanted to perhaps run all of my traffic on my corporate network through my LAN, I could do that. But additionally, if I wanted to, I could run all of the guest traffic directly out to the internet. And if I was going to run it in that scenario, what I could then do is go in and just filter from a layer 7 or a layer 3 directly on the access point. So I can say, look, let's block all peer-to-peer. Let's block all software updating. No one's going to update to iOS 6 here. Block all VoIP, right? Or perhaps I wanted to block, just www.aruba.com, right? All of that can be done right from this interface. Now, it all depends on how you want to construct it. Like I said, alternatively, you can just run it through your firewall. You'd run it in bridge mode in that manner. If you run it in NAT mode, you're going to get an isolated IP address, like a 10.0.0.0-8, right, and it's going to go directly out to the internet. Additionally, I can go ahead and I can filter bandwidth directly on this interface too. So, for example, I wanted to say that my guest network is going to run at 250K, but websites will load at full speed, then throttle after the fact, and then perhaps I can deploy a specific QoS. So I know that while I want all guest networks to run at half speed, I know that the particular website of my company, I want to run at full speed, so that I can say, www.meraki.com, like that. And I can say Meraki.com will actually run at full speed, tag this as best effort, right, and everything else will be throttled. Right, so again, we have the ability to get extremely granular with this network depending on how you want to construct it. And the entire team at Ricoh can help you guys construct this. We have a really strong skill set within them. We have a lot of resources available to you guys to help really just find yourself a very customized network. I think that when many people see this dashboard, it seems like the very basic things obviously are very easy to do, but you'd be amazed, right? We can get so granular with this solution. We can get you a very particular network. So I hope that answers that question there. Truly on the Wi-Fi, there are probably 3 dozen features that I can show you guys that will really help you construct that customized network. But for anyone that's interested, everybody that attended today will be getting a free, full-blown MR18 access point. You guys can take it home install it at your house. It doesn't have to go to your business. You can block your kids' Facebook. You can track your husband's movements around the house, whatever you guys want to do, right? The point of us giving you guys those access points is that we truly feel like once you're able to touch this product and really understand its value, it becomes very apparent this is a much better way to manage a network than what is currently available in the market. On that same note, these were all access points that I showed you guys earlier, right? F8, A10. I can actually go into this access point while it's showing you the Wi-Fi view, the VLANs, the radius, all that kind of stuff. Interestingly enough, it will also show you port 43, IDF 412, right? That is a switch that's located somewhere in San Francisco. I can actually take this view from the Wi-Fi product, which you see here, and now actually pull that and now directly move over into my switch interface. Now, I won't go too much into this, but this is the switch interface. So if you use Meraki switches, you'll be able to see all of this as well. This is like a per port traffic list, right? All of these ports are trunk. Here's the VLAN. Here's the current traffic I have flowing through it. There's the actual wattage being used by that port. If I wanted to run a cable test, again, this access point sitting in San Francisco, imagine I can run a cable test for the first 6 ports of this switch from my Sydney office all the way back to San Francisco. Obviously, none of those are being used. But I can now go, say one of those failed, say like, 48 failed or 46 failed, right? I could actually now go in there and I can directly drill into that particular switch port and I can say, let's look at 46, right? Here's all the clients I have attached to 46. Maybe I want to change this from a trunk port to an access port, or I want to change it from unscheduled to scheduled, gigabit to megabit, change the PoE type, change the VLAN. All of that can be updated directly from this interface to any switch anywhere located in the world. Again, a very innovative, very different way to manage our switches, a benefit that we're able to provide you from Meraki. Now, sort of one of the closing things I'll show you guys is what I think many of us at Meraki consider to be the sexiest feature within the Meraki feature set. So this is a switch, right? I showed you guys some access points. What I'm going to show you now is a dynamically real-time rendered topological map of your network, right? If you're a client that uses Meraki switches, Meraki Wi-Fi, Meraki security, this is what your environment will look like. The ability to see every single one of my switches, right? All the links that are going between these switches and my aggregation switches, what the usage is, what the speed is, how many clients I have associated to that. Again, this is all dynamic, and this is all rendered in real time. Imagine for those of us who actually work in the IT admin space who have to constantly go back to our Visio and update these charts and print them out and go up and change these things, right? This is the ability to have this shown to us in real time. And what's really interesting is that even if I use devices that are non-Meraki, I can see the CDP broadcast right here. There's all the information coming from that Cisco's Catalyst switch right there, right? So again, the ability to have these types of features and the fact that a month ago, before this feature was released, nobody had any idea that this was coming. The next day, everybody woke up, and those of us who had an existing Meraki network got all these features, right? Got this whole graph, this phenomenal, beautiful graph shown to us the next day, right? So that's again something that we have that's particular to us. Now, again, there's probably 1,000 features I can show. I want to obviously make this worth your time as we kind of wrap up here, but was there anything particular that you guys wanted to see or any specific questions that you guys had? Stephen, do you want to maybe read some of them out? Again, guys, we got a good group here today. I want to make sure that you guys get the most of it. And if there's anything particular you want to see, just please shout it out. Let me know.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. One, how many days of data can be stored for analysis? That's around the website listing and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's historical, right? So to give you an idea, I can actually go back here. I can run traffic analysis. So I'm going to now this section, network-wide traffic analysis. Now you can see all the specific categories here. I did see a question about HTTPS. We can now drill into that too, and then I can break that down for you.
Yeah, I guess the question was like how long is that data stored for? Because it defaults to 1 day.
It defaults to 1 day. I can actually run this historically for any time period, and I believe that if the time period you want isn't available directly through the dashboard, we can go back to our support team. We can get historical data for you guys. So again, this stuff is all available regardless of when you need it. And then additionally, from the summary report, all the basic information that the dashboard is providing in terms of usage, That's the switch. Let's go into Wi-Fi. Can be viewed here on the summary report. So this is like, historically, last week, last month, over a specific time period, my usage, top access points, models by usage, total clients.
Okay, so another question. We can see Wi-Fi clients activity and access. Can we also see usage for clients connected via Ethernet as well?
You can if you use a Meraki security appliance, right? So the Wi-Fi applies to the clients that are connected via Wi-Fi, obviously. But if I wanted to see the wired clients, if I used a Meraki security appliance like an MX100 or something, then I can actually go in here and instead of just looking at Wi-Fi clients, I can see here it says wired, so that I can say just show me my wired clients now. And then you can still see the Layer 7 application visibility from a wired perspective if you use a Meraki switcher security appliance. So now you can see here we'll have various different devices here that are different than the ones we were looking at before.
Yep.
Like Belkins, Cisco appliances, desktops, that sort of thing. Oh, weird. I don't know where that came from.
I've got another question about is there kiosk-style login for guests? Do you want to take them quickly through the different options there?
Yeah, absolutely. For guest networking, we can do a lot of different things. Now, depending on the type of environment that you have, I have some best practices for you. If I'm a business, like a retail business, and I actually have a Facebook page, which almost everybody does have, I'm able to actually go in, take my corporate Facebook page, and integrate that directly into the Wi-Fi. It's a phenomenal experience. Stephen, you would know this best because just to give you guys an idea, last time I went to the Ricoh office, Stephen has been testing this, and he set up a Facebook page, and I checked in to the Ricoh location on my Facebook, and then I got some pretty interesting comments from my coworkers on that one. But in effect, what happens is I go right here, sign on, Facebook Wi-Fi. The experience for the user is that I come into a location, you say, hey, there's free Wi-Fi here. It says, Ricoh Facebook Wi-Fi. I go ahead and click OK on that. A Facebook page will open, a mobile one. It'll look exactly like the corporate Facebook page, except that instead of a body, it'll say, please check in here to access free Wi-Fi. I hit OK. It says Ryan Prasad checked into Ricoh North Rhine, and then I get free Wi-Fi, and the actual company gets my Facebook login. And it's really interesting because if I'm a retail environment, that's a highly tracked statistic, how many people check into my location. So again, that's particular for retail. If you're a guest network outside of that, we can do like a guest splash where maybe it's just the terms and conditions and a HTML transparent overlay, and after 30 minutes it splashes me out. Or if I wanted to, I could print out a bunch of slips of paper that say free Wi-Fi for 30 minutes, and I can hand that out to users, and then they can use that. Or I can do like SMS authentication, which uses Twilio, right? So, and we have verified that does work in Australia as well. So again, there's a lot of different options, but the Ricoh team, myself, we have some really good scenarios that we can run you guys through if it's something you're interested in doing.
And one other question around the switch configuration. When we make those changes, does it take effect immediately, or does it have a commit/rollback feature?
Both are applicable, right? So after the changes are made, you'll have the ability to save those changes. Now, once the changes are made, they do propagate out into the entire network. But this is where, again, I think Ricoh and myself, we can offer some really good insight into how to construct networks. Now, a lot of times what we'll do for a switch is that we'll create like a test bed. Perhaps we want to do a single switch in the location, but outside of the core network. So you'd have it as like, you'd see it here as like Ricoh switch live, and then it's a Ricoh switch test. And then what we can do is we can roll a configuration change out to a single switch that we've identified as a test switch, and then see how that affects whatever's attached to that particular switch. And then if we like it, we can roll that out to the rest of the network. The same goes for firmware, right? If we do a firmware update, right, and for some reason you find that that's adversely affected your network, that can be rolled back. And again, it's not something that where it's going to take like 3 days to roll it back, 3 days to roll it in. This is all instantaneous changes that happen on your network, right? And again, that's the benefit of a cloud solution is that, whether the switches are in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Auckland, whatever, right, Papua New Guinea, right, Port Moresby, right, I can roll these changes out, I can pull these changes back. A very dynamic, very quick moving solution for that. It's a good question, though.
All right, that's all the questions so far.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I appreciate you guys bearing with some
Sorry,
of the
Ryan.
technical issues we had.
There was one
Yeah,
more.
go ahead.
There was one more question. I don't know if you have an answer for this, but with Cisco buying Meraki, will Meraki products be absorbed into the Cisco One/Prime strategy, or will it remain a completely separate brand?
You know, it's funny if I had a nickel for every time I answered a question like that. No, look, it's a good question, guys. Obviously, what we see today with the two companies is this. There are two concurrent stacks of products. So, for example, imagine when you guys refer to the Cisco switch product, we know it as Catalyst, but not everyone calls it Catalyst. They just call it Cisco switching, right? In Wi-Fi, we have two products. We have Aeronet, which is the traditional on-premise product that contains your 3700s and your MSC Mobility Services Engine, rack and all your 3308 controllers and that sort of thing. And then we have the cloud stack of products, which is the Cisco Meraki line of products. Now, I think what's really interesting is that when we got acquired almost 2.5 years ago, there was a lot of talk that initially what was going to happen is that this dashboard would be overlaid onto Aeronet, and that's the last you'd hear of Meraki. And 2.5 years later, we've released several new products, expanded the product line to have certain things that aren't available today on the Cisco line and are very particular to Meraki. Now, will there be more integration? I certainly hope so. Right now, in the next release of Prime, you'll be able to view Meraki products. You won't be able to manage them, but there'll be like an ability to click on a Meraki switch and then open the Meraki interface through Prime. We have some very good ICE integration depending on the product that you're talking about. And again, there's some very high-level things we're trying to do to integrate, but there will always be a separate stack of Meraki products that are for the more cloud-focused set of clients that we have, and there will always be a traditional set of Cisco products for the more, frankly, traditional set of clients out there. And I think that where we find the very interesting dynamic now is the clients that have a traditional Cisco solution but perhaps have a roadmap that involves moving everything into a cloud environment. In that scenario, we have some very good and large clients that have made the transition with Ricoh as well, that we can certainly put you guys in touch with some of those actual IT managers who have made that transition, talk about some best practices for transitioning into a cloud environment, how do you bridge two separate solutions in the interim. But it comes up all the time, so it's absolutely something that we're more than willing to and happy to have a conversation about.
All right, I think that's all the questions we've got. All right.
Guys, thanks again. Again, apologies for the technical issues. I want to give a shout out to whichever client messaged me and said restart your WebEx, because that's exactly what fixed it. So whoever did that, good on you. Maybe we'll email me and I'll get you a T-shirt or something.
Well, I think the problem was we're using Citrix GoToMeeting for a Cisco demo. I think that might
never
be
heard of that company before.
That might be the problem.
Yeah, never heard of that company.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for your time, and apologies for the technical problems. I hope you found this webinar informative. You'll be receiving an email later today or early tomorrow, which will have information on Meraki, links to download some more material if you're interested. If you'd like to talk to us further, you can call 13Ricoh and select sales and then IT services, which is option 1 and 2, I believe, and get in touch with us. As Ryan said.
Additionally, too, for the free access point, just make sure to email one of us, either on the Ricoh team, Meraki team. Just follow up and say, look, great webinar. Please send the access point to this address, and then we'll be more than happy to send that out. And if you guys have any questions about setting that up, again, the Ricoh team is phenomenal. All the resources you need are with either of us. Okay.
Yeah, you should have got a confirmation email yesterday, just a final reminder from one of the Cisco team. If you reply to that and just confirm your shipping address, that should be shipped out in the next couple of weeks. Finally, I'd just like to thank you all again for your time. I know we're all busy, but I hope you found this webinar useful. I'd also like to thank Cisco and Ryan for joining us and doing the bulk of the presentation, let's be honest. The webinar was recorded and will be available for download in the future. I'll probably cut out about 10 minutes in the middle there where we had those problems, but it'll look all nice and smooth. Excellent. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thanks, guys.